Hello, and welcome to LearnKey's Entrepreneurship and Small Business Exam Ready course. I'm Wyatt, and I'll be your guide as you prepare for the ESB exam. Let's get started, shall we? What traits define an entrepreneur? It's important to keep in mind that there is no single set of characteristics that all entrepreneurs exhibit. However, there are many which are common. Let's briefly examine a few behaviors and define their benefit to entrepreneurs. Responsible. Being accountable to suppliers, customers, and employees. Organized. A system of organization, sometimes one that only the entrepreneur might recognize, is vital to success. Courage. A willingness to take risks in spite of possible losses. Self-reliant. Often at the outset of a venture, an entrepreneur is the only one who consistently believes in their dream. Confident. Often hand in hand with self-reliance is confidence, specifically in one's own ability to succeed. Determined, committed, and dedicated. These are necessary to keep going when others are casting doubts your way, as well as when success seems to be elusive. Enthusiastic. Passion for the work through ups and downs is a key component that can have a great influence on those who work with an entrepreneur. Immediate feedback. Information can be a great ally, and feedback helps orient a business direction. Future-oriented. Many entrepreneurs look to tomorrow for the next opportunity or the next challenge. Value achievement. The desire to succeed and achieve over the desire and pull of money often drives an entrepreneur. Patient. Success in any form doesn't happen overnight. Patience in the face of ambiguity or when success is elusive is a valuable trait. Flexible or adaptable. Like patience, flexibility helps when things might not be going as anticipated, whether it is with scheduling, employees, creditors, or customers. Creative. Businesses started by entrepreneurs often ignore convention and succeed in spite of their nonconformity with standards. Creativity also allows an entrepreneur to see or approach new ideas or conflicts in ways others do not. Resourceful. Along with creativity, being resourceful is a trait that allows many entrepreneurs to succeed against the odds. Whether it is a lack of funding, a supply chain problem, or any unanticipated event, resourcefulness can lead to a positive outcome. Hardworking or tenacious. Finally, entrepreneurs are willing to work. They know that the success of their business depends upon their ability to see things through. The ESB exam is going to expect you to be able to identify some of the characteristics of an entrepreneur. You might be asked to match definitions or choose from a list, or you might be given a scenario. Let me show you what I mean. Isaac is a musician and has studied to become an audio engineer. He's passionate about music and has worked hard to put himself through school with plans to open his own studio after graduation. His family, however, pressured him into taking over the family restaurant. Isaac was raised to take over the restaurant from his father, who took over from his father. But Isaac doesn't care for the business. He doesn't want to disappoint the family, so he does take over the business, but decides to use a new marketing strategy and change the business to be catering driven. He updated the business plan, adding a $150,000 renovation to expand the kitchen. Business plan in hand, he goes to the bank for a loan. After the loan officer interviews Isaac, he denies the loan. When Isaac asks why, the loan officer replies that they think the business will fail. Suppose you were given these options and asked which characteristic might cause Isaac's business to fail. Simply looking at the choices, all of them are plausible reasons as to why a business might fail. But in Isaac's case, which reason best applies? That's right. Based on the information in the scenario, Isaac lacks enthusiasm for the business, and an interview by a loan officer would likely reveal that. Another aspect of entrepreneurship is taking a good look at yourself, a self-assessment. There are self-assessment tools available online or in a career development center, but each one is designed to help you take an honest look at yourself.
A good assessment will help define three things: your strengths, your weaknesses, and your tolerance for risk. Knowing your strengths will help you focus your time and your resources in a direction that will work for you. Knowing your weaknesses will help you to know what you need to work on or seek further education or training for, or help you identify the type of people you might want to hire to fill in those gaps. Knowing your risk tolerance helps you to know how much you're willing to really invest in time and in money, and could help you determine which path of entrepreneurship might be right for you. The scenarios on the ESB exam will test your ability to evaluate the benefits and results of a self-assessment. For example, you might be asked to choose from a list like this. Which is the benefit to an entrepreneur of a personality assessment? The key to answering a question like this is to carefully read the question. As with many of the options, all are plausible results of various types of assessments. However, in this example, personality is the focus, so the best choice would be results can identify strengths and weaknesses of the entrepreneur's leadership style. Here's another. After taking a self-assessment, Shay has learned that he lacks knowledge about business accounting and record keeping. Armed with this knowledge, what should this entrepreneur do? Let's let careful reading and common sense be our guide. Working for someone else doesn't fit Shay's entrepreneurial desire. Buying a franchise or existing business doesn't change the fact he is still lacking in accounting and record-keeping skills. So, the best option is for Shay to enroll in a business accounting class. One more. After receiving the results of a self-assessment, Susan discovers she has a very low risk tolerance. With this knowledge, which business approach might be the least stressful for this entrepreneur? Careful reading can help to easily eliminate two options. Building a business from the ground up is likely to be quite stressful, and working for someone else won't satisfy her entrepreneurial spirit. So that leaves us with two plausible options. A franchise does have a certain appeal, but it does come with some risk. So in this instance, purchasing an existing and successful business is the best option.
Don't overthink the scenarios. Apply what you know and use the information that you're given. When it comes to recognizing a business opportunity, you'll be tested on your understanding of the different factors that play into an opportunity. Factors like location, price, service, quality, marketing, networking, etc.
Networking is a key skill an entrepreneur can use to further their goals. Getting to know people in the local business community, in the industry, online, or as a customer can provide an entrepreneur with contacts to get things done. Networking is also a great way to share information. For example, attending an event sponsored by a local chamber of commerce is a great way to share information with the local community. Attending or participating in an industry-specific trade show is a great way to share information with others in your industry. Using the socials, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, is a great way to share information with the online community. And don't forget the face-to-face interactions you have each day. Do you have an elevator pitch ready? You may be asked to match the networking type with its opportunity for sharing information, or you might be given a scenario to identify what type of networking is taking place. Something as simple as, Dave is posting daily progress pictures of the custom deck he is building for a client to his social media accounts. Which type of networking is Dave using? This would be an example of online networking.
Let's take a look at how some of the other scenarios regarding business opportunity might play out.
Drea recently moved into a town where she noticed several sporting goods stores that seemed to specialize in skateboards and inline skates. Drea loves to participate in skating competitions, but learned there isn't a skate park or venue in the community capable of hosting a competition. After doing some research, she finds out that there are a lot of recreational and competitive skaters who travel to a skate park in a neighboring town. Drea decides to open a skate park in her community. From these options, which aspect of her business should be emphasized in her marketing to attract customers? Though each option is something that her marketing should include, given the information in her scenario, location is the key component to emphasize.
How about this one?
Connor has been working for a tile setter in a neighboring town. He's good at his job and knows the business well, and he feels he's ready to open his own tile business in his community. He does his homework and discovers that there are a few tile setters in the area, and each charges a premium price for their services. Connor decides to advertise his services in his community. What should Connor emphasize as he markets his business to new customers? Lower prices? Prompt service? Local business? Selection? Again, while each would be something Connor should consider including in his marketing, given the specifics of his scenario, specifically that his competition is expensive, focusing on lower prices would be the best answer.
Here's another similar scenario.
PJ started an auto detailing business a few years ago and has been successful. His success led to a few other detailing shops opening around town. One shop in particular has become his biggest competitor and has slowed his business. PJ has noticed that there are typically several cars parked outside his competitor waiting for service, and after asking around, he's found that many of his competitor's customers complain about the wait. Of the following, which should PJ focus on to attract more customers? Using careful reading of PJ's scenario, his competitor has long wait times that customers complain about. So, the best answer would be for PJ to focus on prompt service.
Okay, so far each of these scenarios has focused on one particular thing an entrepreneur might need to use to capitalize on a business opportunity. Let's look at one more scenario that looks at multiple factors.
Sky would love to open a taco shop that includes a delivery service. She gained access to a survey of customers in the area that showed numerous complaints about the existing taco shops that offered similar services. She noted that most of the complaints centered around delivered food arriving cold. Sky believes that paying an on-time delivery bonus for her drivers would build a reputation for speed and dependability. She also plans to equip each delivery driver with hot boxes to ensure food is delivered hot. What two competitive factors is Sky addressing with this business opportunity? Quality, selection, service, location, price? What does careful reading tell us? In this instance, we can eliminate a few options by looking at what is not addressed in the scenario. Price isn't mentioned, so we can eliminate that one, and neither is selection. Of the remaining three, it is fair to say that quality and service are our two best answers, as they are both referenced in the scenario in the reputation for speed and dependability section.
Any entrepreneurial venture has opportunities, drawbacks, benefits, challenges, rewards, and risks. You will need to be able to determine what some of those potential risks, rewards, and benefits are. Questions on this section of the exam may prove to be challenging simply because the answers might feel subjective. Let's take a look at some of the questions you might encounter.
Suppose you were given this list and asked to determine which is one of the greatest risks of entrepreneurship. With a question like this, it's helpful to think in terms of most entrepreneurs, as different people will see the greatest risk from their own viewpoint. It might also be useful to eliminate some of the less likely choices. Entrepreneurs are all about creating and capitalizing on opportunities, so we can eliminate that one. Though hours might be long, the entrepreneur can certainly make their own schedule, so cross off schedule. That leaves us with two very plausible options. Even though some might view a loss or damage to their reputation as the greatest risk, if we think in terms of most entrepreneurs, then financial ruin would be the best choice. We've chosen one of the greatest risks. What about the greatest benefits? Here are the options. Again, in terms of most entrepreneurs, which is one of the greatest benefits of entrepreneurship? Relatively easy to eliminate two options. The tax burden on a business owner can be significant, and most investments require patience to see a profit. That leaves control over schedule and interaction with new people, both plausible, but when considered from the position of why most entrepreneurs start a business, control over schedule is the better answer.
Were those challenging? Well, let's turn up the heat and see what happens.
From this list, choose 3 of the risks of entrepreneurship. Keep in mind most entrepreneurs and think in terms of best answers. Scanning down the list, 2 jump out as candidates. Financial instability and possible business failure are 2 of the biggest risks an entrepreneur will face. From the remaining 3, not meeting new people isn't a good fit, as starting businesses will require interaction with new people. That leaves long hours and no control over schedule. In terms of risk, yes, the entrepreneur faces the risk of working long hours, the better of the 2 remaining answers. Besides, didn't we just decide the control over schedule was one of the benefits of entrepreneurship? One more. From this list, choose 3 rewards of entrepreneurship. Again, let's think in terms of most entrepreneurs while recalling the traits common to entrepreneurs and see where that leads us. Right away, one option, working your own way, jumps out as a reward. This goes back to the notions of self-reliance and hard work that often characterizes entrepreneurs. What about fewer work hours? Many entrepreneurs are the sole driving force in building their business, which requires long hours. They're dedicated and committed to make their businesses work, so it would be safe to eliminate that as a reward. That's 1 in the reward column and 1 removed. We still need 2 from the remaining 3, and the choice is less clear. What do you think? All 3 could be considered rewards, but of the 3, potential for greater earnings is often a reason entrepreneurs start a business and strive for its success. That's 2 rewards down, 1 to go. Business success doesn't necessarily mean fame or recognition, but business success does help a community. This might be one of the hidden rewards, but of the 2 remaining options, it is the better option to choose.
In all honesty, questions like these will be the toughest on the exam, as they require a good general knowledge of what and why entrepreneurs do what they do, as well as a healthy application of deductive reasoning skills. The scenarios you may see in this section provide much greater context from which to derive your answer. Let's take a look at a few.
Janae enjoys having control over her schedule and is a writer who loves to travel and write about the places she visits on her blog. She wants to turn her writing hobby into a business. Which are 2 of the greatest benefits she might enjoy by converting her hobby to a successful business? Right off the bat, we can eliminate the taxes option. Janae wouldn't have fewer taxes as a business owner. The remaining 4 answers, however, are all good answers. Here's where careful reading will be your guide. She likes to have control over her schedule. Therefore, defining her own rules is an excellent choice. Of the 3 remaining, contribution to society and financial gain aren't mentioned in the scenario, but loving writing is, which equates to satisfaction.
How about this one?
Dean wants to own a photography studio. He opens a studio that specializes in wedding photography. After 6 months, the business fails and the studio closes. Of the following, what should Dean do based on this failure? Dean is an entrepreneur, so giving up doesn't make sense. Reopening while hiding the previous failure would likely lead to another failure and perhaps legal trouble. Reopening and dumping more money into the business without understanding why the business failed in the first place is a waste of money. So, the logical choice for Dean is to evaluate why the business failed and learn from the failure.
Here's another.
Carla is a welder who loves to make metal sculptures. She wants to turn her hobby into a full-time business. She decides to purchase a shop with a large open outdoor area, additional welders, plasma cutters, and other supplies, as well as the basic components to start her own foundry. To make the purchase, she will sell her existing home to make the down payment and have a relative cosign on the loan. She has a small savings and that will cover operating expenses for about 2 months. She plans to put in long hours to produce a number of sculptures to have as inventory and as showpieces. Which are the 2 greatest risks Carla is taking to start this business? Careful reading of the scenario and the question itself will quickly guide you to the 2 best answers. To start this business, Carla will be sacrificing a lot of time, and due to her investment and the limited operating capital she has, she faces financial uncertainty. Those are the 2 best. The other 3 are all possible risks, but not risks she would face to start the business. Finally, Anthony has worked as a journeyman plumber for several years for an employer. He is paid a good salary, and his only complaints are that the hours are often long and he's denied time off due to customer workload. Recently, 2 new apprentice plumbers were hired who do poor quality work and don't get along with Anthony. As a result, Anthony takes and passes the master plumber exam and goes into business for himself. Which entrepreneurial benefit will Anthony most enjoy? We know that Anthony was paid a good salary at his previous job, so greater wealth isn't our best option. And starting a business is no guarantee of financial stability, so that option is off the table as well. Anthony will learn more, but as a master plumber, he's at the top of his field, which leaves independence. Based on the information we have, Anthony not liking the long hours, his coworkers, or the ability to control his schedule, independence is the best answer.
The concepts covered in the entrepreneur section of the exam are somewhat abstract, but with careful reading and a judicious application of deductive reasoning with a dash of common sense, you'll be able to discover the best answers.